Guys, super excited. We are doing this every single month with our Price Labs tip of the month with Richie Khandelwal, the CEO of Price Labs, coming all the way from India. And Richie, man, I love doing these because I'm a little bit of a tech nerd at my core. Not always out to the public, but I love sitting down and doing things with Price Labs. And it was one of the toughest things for me to start outsourcing and systematizing. So, and honestly, it's just because I love it so much. But what we're going to talk about today is exactly those things that I was doing every week, which is what you mentioned to me before we started, the top things that we want to do with our Price Labs account to just make sure that everything is up to date, relevant, and working the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to pass it over to you, brother.
All right. Cool. Thank you so much, Kyle. I'll add a little bit of a color to this. The way I'm going to cover this is I'm going to talk about it from standpoint of if you have 1, 2, or 3 properties. If you have a lot more properties, of course, your workflow can be very, very different in how you tackle this. So let's assume that you are in that maybe 1 to 5 property bucket, right?
Awesome.
That's what we're going to talk a little bit about here. What I'm going to do is share my screen. So tell me if you see my screen with Price Labs in here.
Yeah, perfect.
Ignore all of these names. We use a demo account for our for all of these demo calls, etc., because we might end up tweaking something and we don't really want to change anything on our properties in some ways, right?
Sure, sounds good.
So what I have here is assuming you've either done a training call, you've watched some of the videos that Kyle does, or you've spoken to one of our team members and you've set up your account in Price Labs, right? Now you've set up your account. It's been a couple of weeks. What do you do when you come back into Price Labs, right? It's been a week or a couple of weeks, and what do you do? So that's what I'm going to spend my time on. Number one thing is what you're going to see is the performance metrics on the right hand side. And Kyle, you had a big role in helping us define some of these. But what you'd see is these performance metrics. I would add, if anytime you have a question about anything in Price Labs, you can search here and it'll give you, if I search performance metrics, it'll give me a help article on what it is. And you can always read through and say, what does each of these colors mean in this, etc., right?
And your chat and email support is really solid as well.
We also have a chat support here where normally there is someone online, but depends on the total traffic that we're getting. If your query is not urgent, you can always do email support. But thank you so much, Kyle.
Yeah.
So what am I looking at here? Number one is I have set up some of my performance metrics based on how I think about my business, right? 30-day, 90-day, 120-day. I could change this into something else. So if I click these 3 buttons, I could say my first column, instead of being 30 days, can be 15 days, right? My second column can be 30 days, and my next column is my 60 days. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say what is my typical booking window in my area, which is how soon do I get bookings, and so what do I want to track it against, right? Now the next thing that I can do is if I'm in just a very last minute booking kind of a market, I just want to look at my 15 days or 30 days or something, but I can sort it by this, right? I can just sort it by, okay, all of these properties have 0% occupancy because these are all test properties. So ignore, that's not a real life scenario, right? But all of these are in red. Red means something's not right. Let's relook at the pricing on this, right? Green is, hey, just about right. You don't really need to necessarily tweak anything. It's all well, but in the 60-day window, we're lagging the market. As you'd see, we are 35% occupied versus the market, which is similar listings around you. They are 48% occupied, right? Versus in this green zone, what you'd see is we are 67% and the market is 62%. It's all within the range. Sometimes you might see a blue color. A blue color might mean that you're getting occupied far too much. You may want to change certain things, right? Yeah. Cool. So we have looked at this, and for example, in this orange color, what I see is, sorry, Sometimes it gets buggy like that. What I'm seeing is it's last 15 days, I am lagging a little bit on the market in terms of occupancy, right? Orange and green are one of those where you may want to think about if you want to tweak certain things or not, but it's also okay not to, because it's not materially different, right? But say if I wanted to change this, I may want to come in and look at my last minute discount to saying, do I want to change, right?
Mhm.
But these performance metrics become a very powerful way for you to look at your business. Hard to cover in these 5-10 minute videos, but what I would say is come down here, search for performance metrics, and give it a go next time you're into Price Labs, re-looking at your business, right? So
Awesome.
that's number one thing
One
that
thing
you
I
do.
want to
Performance
add here
metrics.
really
Yeah.
quick too, Richie, is the standard that this comes with is a 7, 30, and 60 day. I really like that personally because I'm in high alert mode on 7 days, whereas like a week out, I'm not quite as high alert. And then another thing you mentioned with those blue numbers, I really like to be in the blue within 7 days or maybe even 30 days, but more so I like it in that first 7 days. I like to know that, hey, I'm really fully occupied. Maybe in the 30 days, I want to be more in the green, possibly even the yellow. And then I get really like nervous if I'm in the green or higher in 60 days, at least in my market, because I'm like, why are people booking out that far in advance? They shouldn't be. But in some markets that could be different, especially in the vacation types of markets.
Yeah, and everyone's risk profile is a little bit different, right? On 60 days, some people may want to be at the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people will not worry. Like, it's okay, I am behind market. That's because all the cheaper properties are going away, and then my time will come, right?
Absolutely.
But the intent is definitely in the first few weeks, you want to be super sharp. Maybe in the blue, maybe in the green. Yellows is okay. Red is definitely not okay. And if you're in the red in the first 7 days or the first 15 days, you may want to revisit something about your pricing, right?
Absolutely.
So
And Richie, before we get into the second and third ways, I do want to remind everyone you can get a free 30-day trial. Go down to the link below in the description if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening on the podcast, then the show notes are fearlesskyle.com/price labs. And you can literally just click on the link there, get a free 30-day trial, get an onboarding training from Richie's team as well, which is super important for you to make sure that your Price Labs is set up correctly. Richie, what else can we be looking at?
Yeah, so I've maybe analyzed some of my properties are doing well or not doing well, right? I want to pick one of these properties and I want to say, this is again a dummy property, but an apartment. I want to look at what's happening in terms of its price. The first thing that I'm going to come and see is this base price helper of sorts, right? I've set up my pricing at around 150. I may want to look at, okay, every 7 days or so, Price Labs recalculates the pricing and says, what should your pricing recommended base price be, right? It's saying low historical listing occupancy, but you're booking slightly better. Based on that, we want to still drive down your pricing a little bit lower to give you more revenue, okay? So that's what it's doing. It calculates every 7 days, but you don't really need to go in every 7 days. If you go in even once a month, just try to see if there is a material change, right, on that base price, and you may want to pick it up. We're making this engine smarter and smarter. And once we feel it's very smart, we will automate even this adjustment for you, right?
I like it. I even just tell everyone, like, as soon as you get Price Labs started, try not to, unless you have been manually pricing your properties for a while and you really know what your prices should look like. Most people don't know that, especially when you're between 1 to 3 properties. Just go in here, click on help me choose a base price, go ahead and select that one, confirm the base price, just use it until you can even learn your market a little bit better and maybe start to manipulate the nuances a little bit more based on your knowledge and experience. But I like just starting right there.
I 100% agree. And what you should do in that scenario, and maybe we can cover this in the next call, how to set your base price, Kyle.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
But if you're doing a review, we're going to look at a performance metrics. If my performance metrics are generally fine, but I want to tweak a few things, I definitely want to look at my base price, right? If the last 7 or 15 or 30 days are not so good, I may want to click this customization button and look at if I want to tweak my last minute prices and how do I discount my last minutes, right? And then finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into neighborhood data, and let me see if I have neighborhood data in any one of these enabled. Okay, so let's assume
I'm a big
it's the same
neighborhood
property,
data fan. I
right?
love the neighborhood data.
Brilliant. And so I am in neighborhood data. There's just like too much to look at. What am I really looking for, right? Of course, you can spend whatever amount of time, but if I'm spending 10, 15 minutes looking at something, right? What I'm trying to quickly look at is you'd see, this is a dummy account, so you don't really see it, but you'd see the bedroom filters that we're using, and you may want to select it down to narrow it down to your bedroom filters itself, right? Once you've done that, you'll see the relative positioning. The black line is your prices, and then the pinkish and the dark pinkish and gray, you can see it's 25th to 50th, 50th to 75th, and 75th to 90th percentile, right, of the market. And you may want to quickly come in and see, are there certain periods where market's pricing super high, right? For example, right here, I don't know where this property is located, but October 8th, something is happening that the market is really shooting up prices. Price Labs is 2, but this is one of those where I may want to say, hey, maybe I want to come and tweak prices here, right? Similarly, I see on September 3rd, something's happening and it's shooting up prices. I see a flat line. I know I may have set a max limit there, a seasonal max limit. I may want to tweak that max limit, right? But this is what I really want to see. Are there certain days that are really, really high on price? And so that at least when I get a booking, I know, are these high demand days? Are these not high demand days? And if you know your market well, you also know, are there certain days that should already be high priced? And if you're not seeing spikes across those, you may want to relook at our calendar and say, I may want to add an override or something, right? So those are the 3 things quickly that we are going to do. We're going to look at performance metrics, right? We're going to look at our base price, and we're going to come into neighborhood data and see, okay, what are the high demand days so that I can keep it in my memory? And secondly, are there certain days that should be high demand, but I'm not seeing them in the price right now? Should I then either add an override or reach out to Price Labs to learn why that day is not priced high enough?
Yeah, I love it. Richie, this is super valuable. Like you said, on the next video, we're going to talk about how to set that base price and minimum price. And so we'll do a deeper dive next month when you guys tune into the next video. But I love using all 3 of these. I teach how to be able to manipulate it a little bit, especially to get some of those last minute bookings. But if you guys are ready to get started with Price Labs, make sure to use the link down below in the YouTube video. Or once again, if you are listening on the podcast, go to fearlesskyle.com/Price Labs. You can get started with your free 30-day trial. You're going to love it, but if you don't love it, then you don't pay anything for those first 30 days. Plus you get an onboard training with Richie's team. And Richie, any last words about what we talked about today?
No. A little bit of, there's no denying that there is a learning curve, which is why Kyle and I do this. Kyle does this on his own. There is a little bit of learning curve when you're trying to use a software, right? Don't get into analysis paralysis. Start basic and then over time improve, right? You don't have to do everything on day one. There's a lot to unpack. Over next few weeks, next few months, you're going to unpack it. Don't think of doing it all on day one.
I think you guys have done a great job of allowing our users to have kind of the training wheels without having to know everything about it. So start with the training wheels, take them off, then maybe eventually you'll be on the unicycle because you'll know so much about it. Maybe that's a good way to think of it. All right, Richie, we'll see you again next month. Thanks so much, man.
All right, take care. Bye.